Okay. Anyway, it's 6:30, so
Yeah, they're great young couple. There's lots of them in Washburn.
we will call the regular city commission meeting for Tuesday, April 10th, 2018 to order. First is approve the March 12th minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review those? Everything that I sent you in red was a change from the unofficial minutes that were in the paper. And basically what it was is the changes were, you know, some typing corrections and then making sure that the roll call votes were all recorded in there. Other than that, I don't think there was any changes.
I'll move to approve the March 12th minutes.
Okay.
I will second.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections to that? Okay. Reese?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Okay, now the financials. I had sent you both February and March because we didn't have financials last meeting. So if anybody reviewed all of them, there's a lot to review.
Do you want us to do a separate motion for February and March?
Probably.
Okay, I'll move to accept the financials for February 2018.
Okay. I will second that. Any discussion on the February financials? Okay, Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, and then I will move to accept the March financials.
I'll second.
Do we need more time to look them over? Okay. Any discussion on that, Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, then, in that packet that I put on your desk, Linda and I were talking about different reports that could be available, you know, for financials. And I'm just wondering if this might, you know, some of these might be a little bit better report because it actually gives you like the percentage of budget that's in and stuff, so it kind of tells us where we're at. And maybe this isn't perfect yet, but I think it might give us a little bit better guideline of where we're at each month. If you just want to look through those briefly. That's the one in your packet here, not in there. So, and then a lot of this is working off the budget. And Linda, these revenue guides, now that's just off the budget, correct? It's really not what's in the checking account, or is
Nope, not in the checking account. It's just essentially what's come in for the current month and then year to date.
Okay.
Versus what was budgeted and what the difference is between the year-to-date amount and the budget.
Yeah, and then it's in all the separate little budget items that we can track where we're at.
Right, so the front page is revenues, the second page is expenditure, the same kinds of numbers.
Mhm.
I think minimally, I would recommend you guys start hitting this so you can track where you're at with your budget. Obviously, budget is wish and a dream most of the time, but it still is by law a document that if you, especially on the expenditures, if you exceed what was appropriated and approved in the budget, you need to acknowledge that in the minutes and be aware of it. So if you haven't been getting these, I would definitely think I would suggest you do that going forward.
Well, how about if next month then we go with this new style of financial? Would that be okay with everybody? And
You still need the fund balances
Right.
report. Those are your checking, your cash account balances. You still need those reports that give you that summary. I'm not sure how informative that sundry report is. It's just a list of everything that went in and out of the accounting system.
Right.
So there's a lot of pluses and minuses and pluses and minuses. I don't know if it's really meaningful to you as board members, but that certainly can still be generated. It's an easy report to generate, but I would suggest going forward for sure you do some kind of a budget
yeah,
comparison.
I mean, I like this, I think, better than the Sunday report. 'Cause that was, kind of confusing, because it really, didn't tell you a whole lot. So,
Yeah, this is the most formal.
yeah.
Which one do you prefer, Reese? This one that has a little bit more detail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then, you're seeing the percentage year to date.
Right, for each of your budgeted line items?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
So that's what we'll go with next month then, and plus, like you said, the cash balances. So,
Mhm.
okay, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, Riverboat Saloon special event permit. What they have is, there is at the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center, there's the Elks Foundation benefit, and that is on, May 3rd, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And basically just need to issue the liquor license permit so they can transfer their license out for a couple hours. So and it appears all the paperwork is correct, so and you've got the drawing and everything. So I will make the motion that we accept the application for a special liquor license permit for Riverboat Saloon. And that's not in here. I can show it to you if you would.
Okay. What's the date of that special event?
May, what did I say?
3rd.
May 3rd.
Third.
So I didn't get that in time to get it in on the iPad. And there is nobody there that's going to be under the age of 21, so.
We don't have law enforcement there.
I will second the motion
Okay,
on the table.
any other discussion on that? Okay, Reed?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, and then I think you had a Riverboat, or not Riverboat Days, but Cleanup Week is, this is more for information. Cleanup Week will be May 14th to the 19th. Large items pickup on the 19th. Basically would be pretty much the same as we've always done every other year. So, and then I believe they're going to have a citywide rummage sale the Saturday before that, I believe.
The 12th.
Huh?
The 12th.
The 12th, yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll have this published in the paper and stuff.
Yes, we will put this in the paper probably a couple of weeks before. So, yeah. Okay, the next thing is a board member. We've got two people show interest. We have one one letter.
Mhm.
I think that Steve talked to you, didn't he, Reese?
Yeah, so it's the board member for the airport authority, Mark Lutzenheiser is going to be leaving after the second quarter. And yeah, Steve Eigelhart had called yesterday, I talked to him on the phone, so then he called in. And then Bob Weiss had sent a letter earlier.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess we had Bob's first, if that, I mean, I think they'd probably both be good, I don't know.
Yep, yeah, from what I've heard, each candidate would be excellent in the position. I guess personally, with Bob being more local, I think to me that does settle
Yeah.
my choice of the two. I know Bob more personally, and he's an excellent individual. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So are you gonna make that a motion then? Or?
Yeah, I'll motion to, or I'll move to accept Bob Weiss's application as Airport Authority Board member effective after the Q2 2018.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Reese?
Aye.
Well?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, okay, Kit asked me to put this next one in there, and what it is the forestry board met yesterday or the day before, the 9th, I think. Anyway, they were they have a couple of grants that they're going for, but they were talking about possibly starting a park up across the highway, and this little triangle here, if I can show you on the map where that is, it's, the new water tower is right here, across the highway. That's where the new water tower is, and like the captain's cabin would be right down here. So it's kind of in that new development area, you know, if you're familiar with that. Anyway, there's a lot there. The thing is, right now, there's not a paved road up to there yet, and there's no utilities up there yet. Because the utilities stop roughly about right here and right here, and the roads. So this is a city-owned lot, and maybe this is something we need to talk to the park board about first, because it would be a park. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is, if there's going to be a park, they should be involved. You know,
Right, because they would have to budget accordingly to maintain, is that what?
absolutely, yeah.
So then your discussion that the water ends before it or right up to it, that would need water for...
Well, I would think so, you know, well, because they were talking about planting trees around the perimeter. Well, obviously the trees need to be taken care of.
Mhm.
So, you know, maybe that's something we should refer to the park board, and then they can, if they want to pursue it, then, you know, maybe that would be the way to go. I just basically brought this for discussion. Kid asked me to bring it up because they had a meeting.
Right, I maybe missed it. They would be looking for the city to donate the lot?
Probably.
For the...
Yeah.
And do the existing parks have water for sprinklers or anything? Just water for utilities, bathroom?
Well, yeah, well, they do, you know, they, Renner Park has a hydrant up there. Riverside Park has, you know, they have flush bathrooms down there.
Sure.
The pool park has the swimming pool, you know, so they got water there. So, and then I don't know about the one up, kind of where I live up there. Pocket Park. Hidden Park, there you go. I don't know if they have water in there or not. I'm not sure. But we can, I guess that's my recommendation. Let's kick it to the park board first before we make any decisions on that.
Yeah, I think they'd like to have that and maybe plan it out and...
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they have different ideas, so.
Yeah.
So we'll just push that off on them for their opinion first, so. Okay.
otherwise on that side of town, is there a existing park at all?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next, sales and use tax for Painted Wood Golf Course. They came to sales and use. They're looking at $15,000 to launch a new marketing plan and $10,000 to cover inventory and operating funds. The sales and use tax recommended that they are approved for the $25,000 to the economic development fund. And just so you know, they they're also asking Wilton sales fund for like the same amount, and they've been having some struggles since they went to 18 holes in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to market the course a little better. So with that, I will make the motion that we approve the sales and use tax, $25,000 for Painted Woods Golf Course.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any further discussion on that? Reese?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes.
Larry, can you double back to 7?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, there's the library, 50 match for carpeting. Reese, you probably know the most about that.
Yeah, the carpet, or that 50/50 piece, was budgeted for last year for 2018. And then recently they had installed the carpet. The library had paid the complete bill through the Carpet World company down in Bismarck, and so they're asking for that 50/50 money reimbursed back to them.
This is something we discussed already, right, before, or not, or haven't we?
Yeah, last year at
Yeah.
last year, 2017 budget time,
Yeah,
I think we even put a note in the budget for that piece. And
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
And I would say it doesn't need a separate motion since it was in the list of bills that you approved. So since you already approved the list of bills, you actually did already approve this.
Okay. But that piece will be a transfer. It's not as if it's.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Once we already approved those bills, we haven't approved those yet.
Oh, you haven't approved these bills? Okay.
No.
It's in those bills to approve, yes.
Well, I don't think
So-
it hurts since we're,
So when
working
you're
out $5
saying-
grand, it would.
When you're saying a transfer, it's going to be a check out of the city to the library.
We will write them a check,
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
right, because it came out of their checking account that
Okay.
they control,
Okay.
so.
Well, I'll move that we reimburse the library, city Washburn Library, $4,936.50 as part of the 50/50 match for the carpeting initiative.
Okay. I'll second that. Any further discussion?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay. Okay, the reimbursement for the storefront improvements for Enterbase, and I didn't know if we should bring this before the commission or not, because even though, we granted the $25,000 for this project, I just kind of wanted guidance from the commission if they wanted each one of these brought back to the commission before they get paid out. Because WIDA was to decide, if they qualified or not.
Mm-hmm.
But just as a checks and balances, it can always, I wondered if you wanted the city to okay all these, or...
It can't hurt to talk about it and give it some more PR, right? To let everyone know that, hey, some good things were done. I mean, at minimum, I think that's the benefit,
Yeah.
to talk about it one more time.
But it does come out of the city checking account, so,
Technically, it's already approved through a motion from approving the money earlier,
Yeah.
but Lisa, I agree with you that
Right.
it's just good promotion of it.
Yeah.
And
Can't
Mr.
hurt.
President, I guess I feel like the allocation was approved, but
Right.
individual expenditures need to go through this board. That was my recommendation to Larry.
yeah.
You approve an allocation just like any other budget item, but the bills still come through this board. So my recommendation would be that you do have those come through here, so you guys know where your $25,000 is going.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's right. And
Yeah.
to be able to keep track of, okay, we spent $5,000, now we spent $10,000, and this is where,
Right. Yeah. So, so I'll make a motion that we pay the $1,866.37 for the, match for the, storefront improvement. Cement base.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Was there a deadline on this? I mean, do we know how many, okay.
No, it's, it's $25,000, and I think where we are now, probably,
Probably it's done.
yeah, if that, yeah.
Okay.
Because there's only been 2 so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'd probably even less than that, probably.
And the thing still have to submit for the metal work they've done.
Oh, okay, okay.
So if we have 5 applicants, we run out of money, I'm just kind of wondering how we're gonna, if you didn't apply, or if you didn't submit your reimbursement request.
We're tracking, they have to be pre-approved,
Okay.
and we're tracking it. Our treasurer keeps track of, 25,000, this is how much this comes, this is how much something has been reconciling. So as soon as we get, to the end of that money, or where we feel we're to the end, we could come back to sales and use and ask for more, or maybe, we just no longer need that grant, or,
Okay.
the funding. So, I have a question.
We had a motion on the table first, so, yeah. So we'll finish that first, and then we can do the question. Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, we have a second, right? Yeah. Yep. Whatever, I think I second. Anyway. Reese?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, yes, go ahead.
So the Sales and Use Tax Committee, does it need to go back to them for approval too? 'Cause-
Yes.
And then it has to come here too, so.
Well, oh, no, I see what you're saying. Does this have to go to the sales and use?
Right, because
No.
it's Sales and Use Committee that basically approved this.
Well, sales and use approved the $25,000 for this project, but then the money actually comes out of the city account.
Okay.
So,
But every time a project is finished, how would you like that presented?
well, I think the way, the stuff you gave me on this one is great,
With
so,
proof of payment and the application.
right. And then we can, and then we can put it in the, on the files, and then we'll have it, so.
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, Bob Offset, he's not here. I don't know what we should do about that. I think, I have talked to some residents in that neighborhood, and they said it's pretty smelly down there, having all those dogs. And, our ordinance says 4. And I realize, he loves his dogs, but, where do you draw the line? I guess my recommendation is giving him X number of months to, find homes for some animals, or however he wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He says he can't afford to get them fixed.
Yeah, was that an action item by Bob to figure out if there was some, or was someone on the commission going to look into that for some assistance on the?
Well, I looked at this. It's through Central Dakota Humane Society. I mean, they do have a spay-neuter program, and I don't think it covers a lot.
I think it's $20
Oh, yeah.
per animal.
And I don't know what it costs to have an animal fixed, but, I mean, any help is something. I really couldn't find a lot.
Gotcha.
But I did look for stuff. But I guess, we pass ordinances for a reason. And, and the thing is, if we let Bob keep that many dogs, well, then you might as well just forget the ordinance, because it means nothing. And I think Bob has a lot of dogs because he did used to breed them.
Okay.
So I guess I am going to make a motion that we send Bob a letter saying, we will give him, 6 months, or maybe till the end of the year. He's going to have to become in compliant with the ordinance. About a month. Month isn't enough.
When the ordinance was enacted, you didn't have a special consideration for that type of thing, and there was no timeline at that point for individuals to get down to the 4, just for the...
No, there wasn't.
Gotcha.
No, there wasn't.
I'm trying to remember if there was a limit on the old ordinance.
Don't remember.
'Cause I'm thinking there might have been, but I don't
There
remember.
might have been, I'm not sure.
Maybe we should look at the old ordinance before we decide too much.
Well, we could, but, you know, the old ordinance really means nothing once the new ordinance is passed. You know, I mean, and no matter what the old ordinance says, the new ordinance says this. You know, well, let me ask you this. I started a motion. So I'm going to rescind that motion for now. What do you think would be a good timeline? I mean, I would say 6 months minimum, maybe a year, or at the end of the year maximum.
Yeah, this would be about 8.
You know, because we want to give them a chance. We want to be, you know, a little bit fair. You know, and the thing is, when ordinance good, they get printed in the paper for, you know, several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
People have the right to come in and you know, discuss it. Anybody have a preference on timeline?
I'd say 6 minimum.
Okay, I'm going to make the motion, then we'll send Bob a letter that he has 6 months to become in compliant with city ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, so then so right now he does have 4 dogs registered with the city.
No, he has any right now.
Okay.
I don't believe. I mean, I'll have to check on that, but
Sure.
yeah.
So ideally, he would have 4 licensed with the city and then 12 that, right, 'cause he has 16?
He has 13 dogs.
Oh, 13.
13.
So he'll have to move 9.
Right.
Yeah.
More discussion, or anybody? Okay. Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. So I will take care of getting the letter drafted. You know, he said he was going to be at this meeting, you know, so.
Yeah.
Okay, summer employees, this is more for information. We put an ad in the paper. We're accepting a summer employee application until May 4th. Dang it. I'll go back to that one. You know why I scratched it off? Somebody told me I was going to be here. Anyway, do we want 2 employees again, or
I would think so.
1 for sure, maybe 2? I guess we can decide once we get applications.
So that's with the city employees.
Right.
You said May 12th?
May 4th
Or May
is the
4th.
deadline
Okay.
for applications.
What is, did Turk have any input, or,
No.
because essentially, right now it's Turk and Adam, I guess, would they each mentor or work with one of the individuals? How has it been
I
done
think what
in the
they do
past?
is they put them like weeding, mowing, stuff like that. You know, if they do tarring, then one of our guys is with them. you know,
Okay.
and stuff like that, so, you know, it just depends what they're doing, like mowing, you know, they would go out, like one guy would mow, one guy would probably weed eat.
Sure.
You know, and if they're picking rocks somewhere, I mean, you know, or, you know, throwing off little branches and stuff, you know, obviously, if they're using a chainsaw, I mean, probably one of our guys would be there, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
so. I would say, you know, let's plan on 2, kind of see what the applications look like.
Say 2, and then they would be able to utilize the buddy system if they had a project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have to, you know, motion on this, anything, it's just kind of more for, information.
And that process, just for curious, the process of interviewing and selection, that's not the whole commission?
No,
Okay.
no. And a lot of times we get the same people back, so. Okay, Dave Pyer, not here. Thank you, Colin, for telling me that. I had talked with Dave and I think Tammy did too, and we pretty much got him a little better feel for than what he originally thought, so. Okay, the 2016 audit, I talked to Widmer Rowe last week, on the 2nd, they said 2 more weeks. I tried calling them today, they didn't get back to me. I really don't know what the hope is. They didn't fail in to ask for more information today yet, and, you know, so several months ago they were going to be done in a week, you know, and I have no idea what's going on. So, I guess we'll just wait and see. And that's just for information. Okay, now the old Memorial Hall lights, and I put that on here, you know, we had those for sale, you know, when we were selling used equipment. And they're sitting on a pallet down inside the compound, and rather than throw them in the garbage, I was going to say maybe we should try and offer them to another city if they could use them. You know, we'll put them, like, say, go to League of Cities or something, just say, hey, you know what, if you can use them, come get them, rather than throwing them away. So I'm going to make a motion that we offer them to some city that can use them for nothing.
One second.
Does the League of Cities have like a swap shop?
Well, they got like a classified, yeah, well, they have that, plus they have the classifieds,
Sure.
and, you know, so, Reese?
Aye.
No?
Hi.
Yes. Okay. Okay, city load restrictions, once again, that's just for your information, they went on March 21st. We follow the county with what they do, we've done that every year, and they'll be on until everything dries up, so. Okay. Then we have WIDA Dog Park proposal. Tammy, you're up. And I believe I gave some stuff in here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it's WAE,
what'd I say?
Washburn area.
Washburn?
WEDA, W-E,
God dang it.
that's okay, W-A-E-D-A. You're good.
If it's a bad.
No, so, thank you,
Yeah.
for allowing me to come today. Dog park. So, about a year ago, if you recall, I was here presenting, kind of the overall findings from the Marketing Hometown America. And one of the things that we talked about in Marketing Hometown America that was felt to be a need in our community was a dog park. So for the last year in different meeting settings, we've discussed a dog park and what it would take to do a dog park, as far as insurance, as far as what the benefit would be and so forth, or even how we would do it. So since then, I have talked with the WIDA board, and they have agreed to support it, and that they're supportive of the idea of a dog park. The park board has agreed to mow it, an area when it's decided on, and maintain it and provide, I don't know how to explain it, the dog bags, for,
The stations.
yes, for disposal and a trash can and all of that. So the ask is for the city commission to approve the installation of a dog park and to provide this additional amenity to the community of Washburn and for the enjoyment of the community and visitors on city of Washburn land, as shown on this photo. So I'm not sure if you kind of got your bearings straight, which Reese, you and I were looking at this earlier today, but it's back behind the grain elevator is where it's at. So between the grain elevator and the river. So here's the grain elevator, the river's here. So grain elevator, river here. So it's between these two big trees. This is that fertilizer, storage, whatever it is. Yep, the railroad goes right here. These four in blue are city land, which this actual drawing here is kind of the outline, 622 feet, so 650 roughly, actually goes in this second piece of land right here. And then these lots over here adjacent to it are actually railroad. And Larry and I looked it up and confirmed railroad, and these are also railroad. So this would be on city property. I have checked into the insurance for the city, and it would be at no additional cost, and the current policy for the city does cover a dog park. They've recommended some signage and given us the lead off of signage that is in Bismarck at some dog parks. Obviously you'd note that everyone's responsible for their own cleanup. Please don't leave your children or pets unattended, which hopefully that's a given. But the rules are very specific, what they can and can't do. I've checked many different regulations. It's something that the park board, we would go through with them just to make sure we're all on the same page, but we would have park rules that would be posted. The fencing for this dog park, to start out with, we're going to do pallets that are being donated by Wagon Wheel. And the thought with pallets is that it's not a permanent structure, and if this should, for whatever reason, not go over well with the community or just isn't utilized, it's something that could be taken down. So kind of like our Christmas display we had this year, where there's a pole holding up a pallet, you screw them together. Pallets could be painted if it's an eyesore after it gets put up, but it would be a structure that would be put up. So there is a group that has volunteered to kind of look after this too, in addition to the park board.
Which group is that?
It's a group that kind of was an off branch of the Marketing Hometown America. They call it WIFUN, W-I-F-U-N. It's the same group that did the parade, the tree lighting and lights parade. So they'll be doing some events later this year too. One of them is a licensing kind of fun day for pets if this would go through, because something that's going to happen too is this will have to have registered pets, and if these regulations say that, is your pets do have to be actually licensed with the city to be down there. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, how's that going to be policed? Everyone's going to have to self-police, and just know that your pet does need to be licensed. And if I need to be policed once in a while and just go and kind of peruse, we can. There are a few banned breeds that will be on these lists just for liability purposes, and it's something that the insurance company says these are the ones. So,
Which breeds are those?
no, but I know them, but we can get the official from them.
Is there a height restriction on the fence that would pallets meet?
No height restriction, no guidelines in that sense, other than pallets are 4 feet tall.
you know, nothing against, you know, volunteer groups that, you know, want to help out, you know, especially as far as like taking care of stuff. But I do know, like, the fish cleaning station, first of all, it was the Sportsman Club, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. And then it went to Sanex, oh yeah, we'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Then it went to the city. Then it went to the park board. You know how it goes, and it always ends up back at the city somehow, so.
Well, the park board
you
does
know,
have summertime employees
For
and
3 months, though.
for 3 months
Yeah.
that they've committed to. And really, you know, a dog park in this location, again, is going to be seasonal, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Kind of a play at your own risk type thing, too. It is an amenity to the community. You look at other communities that, of our size, you know, it's one of those things that gives us kind of the edge over other communities. It's something that we can advertise, market. People are growing, it seems, fonder and fonder of their pets. They're more like children, as we can all attest to that have children. We're very fond of our children.
I actually like my dogs better, but.
I know. Sometimes I do. My dogs outnumber my kids. But anyway.
Where's the, like the parking proper for it?
So there is parking along the railroad over here. This is a road that goes through here, actually here. And then there's
Is that on
also,
there?
There are tracks here, and there's a road there.
and there's also this area in here where they could park. There's also this building over here. Hopefully they would be on the walking trail and would stop and let their
Sure,
dogs
yeah.
play. So
The-
we're
The thing is, your parking is on private land, though. You know, that's elevator land, right?
so Riverside Park also has a
But I mean,
parking lot
here, you
down
know,
there.
but you know what I
Right.
mean, that's private, you know, so,
Actually, it's out. Sue. Some of this is Sue,
well, whatever.
and we can
Railroad.
designate it
But, yeah.
right here maybe.
Are you able to approach and so Sue, the railroad, are you able to approach and talk to them about that, just to confirm?
Yes, but no. Do you have a contact? Because it's not Sue right now, as you haven't.
CP.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or
I
the
think,
And the
federal.
thing,
I know that, CPS.
thing with doing it on city land is we're covered by insurance and so forth.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think CP owns it, so,
It's the Sue,
yeah.
when you look at the ownership.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess I'm thinking of people that actually control the track.
Right,
So, yeah.
right. Yes. So that's
Yeah,
what you get into too, is it ownership, maintenance, or is it the people that are
Right.
running
Yeah.
it right now?
I guess I don't really like the location, I would rather see it on the other side of the elevator.
The other side to the,
It would be that way.
gotcha.
Back by the old blacksmith shop.
Yeah, kind of down that way. I mean, that's where I would rather see it. 'Cause that land really gets used for nothing. You know, I mean, here, I mean, it's not really used for a lot, but, you know, we do dump snow there in the winter. And it might be it might not be in the way of that. I'm not sure.
By a tree, so.
Yeah. And I don't know, do people play Frisbee up there and stuff? Like,
There's a
not
lot
here,
of
but down
land.
there and
I
stuff?
think people
or-
play back
Do they?
over
Okay,
here.
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know, I'm just curious.
So you're mentioning the land or the area over by the pool?
Mhm.
It would actually be, you know, on the other side of the tracks. You know, and the city owns land back there too, so. It would be a little more, I guess in my opinion, it'd be a little more, away from, like, the cars and everything, and then it would also, lost my train of thought.
They have parking there
Oh, yeah, I know.
along the tennis courts and stuff
It would
too.
be a little further away from, you know, houses too, like people's residences and stuff too, so. Not that this is that close, but
Right.
Sure.
this is closer than what would be there.
Well, I'm game with that. I think on this side of the tracks is probably, you know, this side of the tracks back here by the walking path is, you know, the best. idea. So if there's a piece of land, you know, again, 650-ish square feet, we're starting with this to see if it's even utilized.
Do you have any comments from the public on this? Or?
Glenn, that's the few ones parks we have. You know, just.
Because it has to be
thinking about
fenced.
It has to be fenced, and you don't want to mix the dogs and the kids.
I just don't see it being used a lot.
It's a big thing,
You
right?
know, I think it's gonna be initially, might be, but then when I see, like, a lot of things, we're doing this down by the wayside, and, we're paying for something that, you know,
Who's paying for it?
well, the city,
No.
who's gotta keep it up?
Pellets are replaced as they get broke.
It sounds good, but I see that pretty soon they're falling over, nobody's fixing it, and I just foresee that happening.
I guess, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I would rather see it over on the other side over there. I just don't think this is the right spot. That's just my opinion, but.
Well, at one point in time, the proposal was over by the softball field, and I think that was a unanimous, not the right spot,
Right.
piece. So this was the only consideration for an alternate location. Had the group looked to that other spot where Larry's speaking of?
We spoke about it, we looked at it, I looked at it from the position I'm in, and either one of them would suit the needs that I, as economic development, would feel the needs. The group that supports this and has talked about it and is the offshoot of the Marketing Hometown America, they just want a dog park. And for marketing purposes, it doesn't, I mean, whether it's located here or over here, I mean, it's something that we can definitely list as an amenity to the community, and it doesn't matter where the location.
Anybody else?
It's worth a shot. It's, you know, like you said, it's somewhat temporary, or I mean,
Seasonal.
if it doesn't go,
We'll have a big bonfire.
I like fire.
Of course, the fire department oversees.
So do you have a motion? I'll make a motion that we go with it on that side of the elevator. And that land, it'd probably be land, you know, on the east side of the walking trail.
Okay.
So that's my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Please,
Aye.
well,
Thanks.
yes,
Thank you.
yep,
Thanks, Dana.
okay. If you want to get out of here, we can put you first, Eric, I mean, unless you're gonna stick around the whole meeting, but,
I don't know how much you got left after.
well, we're gonna discuss, the receptionist position, so,
Oh, it doesn't matter if you wanna do that first.
well, it's up to you. I mean, if you're gonna stick around, we can do that first.
Sure.
Okay.
He has to drive back to Bismarck, I gotta drive to Washburn City. He can stay here.
Okay, so, receptionist position, and I don't know if this is, well, it's something we really need to get in the paper. And then, but then we only have 3 commissioners here to discuss it also, and I don't know if anybody has talked to anybody else on it. What you know, we had talked about full-time and part-time. Just to give you an idea, I gave you this sheet of benefits here. And it's, and basically what this is, it says full-time and part-time, but that was a mistake. It should be family and single. And this is going by our 2 employees that we have in the shop, you know, and it's based on their incomes, okay? But you look at the cost of the family benefits, you know, it's like almost $26,000. And then you go with like single, benefits, it's like $11,500. So if we go full-time on this and we get somebody with a family, I mean, it's another $26,000 that gets added, you know, to the expense. And a single person, it's another $11,500. And that's if we go full-time. You know, and I had talked with Linda, and I asked her what she thought, you know, an office like this size would do you think it would be full-time, part-time? And Linda, what you had a thought on that?
I guess when you did ask me,
Yeah.
and, you know, I've only been helping here for a month,
Right.
so I don't know that I have a really good handle on what would be involved. I really think it's important that you have at least a part-time person so that there's some relief. Larry's here a lot, I see that, so it takes care of a lot of the daily ins and outs. But I can also say that between Cammie and I, our AE2S Nexus staff, pretty much, closed out February and all of March, and I think our billable hours are going to be around 110 hours. And that's with paying all the bills, doing all the payroll, getting all the utility bills receipted. So that's with the two of us. Now, we didn't field any of those questions, didn't do dog licenses, those kinds of things that you and Judy have taken care of, but essentially just getting the utility bills processed. And there was there was a lot of research in that, in those hours. I would say that will be drastically reduced this next month, but just to give you an idea of about how much time it took for a first time around to do about a month and a half of bookkeeping between the two of us with the research involved it's going to be about 110 hours. So
There was a lot of research done.
a tremendous amount, as always, on these.
That was for the month.
For the month of March, and also essentially the billing had been sent out on utility billing for February, but Cammie did all of the receiving and had to learn the 2 ACH processes that are part of the utility billing, the online payments, the credit card payments, the direct deposits from Bank of North Dakota. Those aren't complicated, but there was a lot of time spent getting those processes figured out, getting passwords, getting access to the systems. And even with that, it's about 110 hours. So that's what I can tell you about the amount of time.
And just for comparison, so normally a 40-hour week times 4 weeks is 120 hours. So I mean, that's just going to give it like a month is 120 hours. So just for comparison. So,
Well, you know, in the future, you're not, because you've been helping out quite a bit, but that's not going to be the norm. So you have to anticipate that.
Right.
When we look at these benefits, I don't know, it's not the right thing, I don't think, to look at the potential cost of family versus single. We don't know how that looks until you send out the application of who you're going to hire in. I think it's about the service piece. Last month we talked about the service the community deserves. And through the assessment that, you know, Linda's feedback and the fact that Larry won't be down at the office so much, I mean, those are two big considerations. But to make a decision based on this, I think that's good information. But that's,
well, and that's what it's for, is information.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's all it's for. You know, it's,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I think another thing we need to take into consideration is we don't have any projects going on right now. And if we have another big project, I think that's really time-consuming for the office. Lots of questions and...
Yeah, and it would be nice if everybody was here to, you know, to comment on this. You know, we could put the ad in this way, you know, saying to be determined and see what we get. Or not, you know. Because maybe, you know, somebody only wants part-time, you know, or maybe somebody will only come in and they're really qualified, but they have to have full-time. have you guys read both of these, just to see, I mean, it's, okay, other than part-time or full-time, do the ads look good? I guess that's, one of the big questions.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't found anything that was off. We needed to complement the auditor position, and if Linda's looked through that, and so we're closing on the auditor, is it the 13th? April 13th?
This Friday, at 4 o'clock, they have to have their applications in.
Because
And
that
we've gotten
too
a few.
maybe determines, because whoever we have in, it won't be the, any 2S expert, so that's good. There's going to be some learning curve in that as well. Will that time of learning and transition skew the city's opinion or the office's opinion on the need, during that time?
Probably. Yeah, definitely.
Until that person's up to a proficient level, we really wouldn't have the idea, because you could be, Linda, you could be here and we could gauge it on that, but it's going to be much different when we have a FTE in there.
So what do you think about putting it in this way, and then we can determine from there? I don't know.
Or just to list options, another option would be maintain temp staffing for that position through the transition of the FTE auditor into the learning piece. I mean, that's an option too, but that drags out that timeline, of course.
Well, it does, yeah, because this is probably going to have to be advertised. We'll probably advertise this for a month again too. So it's at least 3 weeks, So if the time we pick an auditor position and get them trained in, we're probably going to be a month and a half.
Right.
So, and then if you put this out for say another half month to a month, you're getting out there.
I do like Reese's idea. I think that's a definite consideration to just keep Julie in here. If she's willing.
Right. Oh, yeah, well, and then we would, I guess that person, the auditor could be taught the whole water bills and everything. I mean, well, of course, they're going to have to be taught everything, so, we can do that.
Well, and then, the auditor will also probably have a little say in who's hired as a receptionist, maybe. We want to make sure that they can work together, too.
Well, yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. The risk if you post a part-time or full-time, so I could see that happening. The risk is we end up hiring someone that only wants to work part-time, but we find out we need the full-time later, and there we go, we won't have that.
Exactly, yeah.
Or we hire, vice versa, and
Yeah.
then we ask a full-time to ratchet back to a part-time, which would be the wrong thing to do.
Which would be, it'd be a lot harder than the other way, I think, but, yeah.
Right. But you know how that works.
Oh, yeah.
Probably be faced with something like that.
So then we should probably just put this on hold then, until we review the other applications and see where we're going with there, and then maybe
I would
we can
agree
look
with
at it
that.
again.
Yeah.
We could do that.
And we'll have more,
Well, we want to make sure we do it right and we get the right thing, so.
Yep,
Okay.
agreed.
Yeah, that works. Okay, we're going to go to audience members. Colin and I discussed the DMVW thing, the trucks coming in and out. By the way, Colin is the one that put in application for commission, or petition for commission.
Okay.
And he was concerned that, the DMVW bringing those trucks in for that, was it corn oil or?
Yeah.
Corn oil. If you have anywhere from 8 to 11 or 12 trucks a week coming in on our roads, what benefit does the city get out of that other than, the roads possibly being damaged over time.
Well, I guess probably speak up, and that's what I looked at is, I had to look at it from all angles, and I didn't see any economic or financial gains for the city. To have, basically a truckload a day pounding through the streets, what are we gaining as a city for that pounding on pavement? Nothing other than 5 years down the road, now the taxpayers have to cough up the money to replace the asphalt, because and it will get pounded out. The west end of town already, Main Street is not great a shape. So we take that truck, especially in the summer, we're talking 8,000 pounds, making a corner on the A Street, that's just gonna roll that asphalt right out of there. So it's just a matter of time. Again, I'm not against doing it, but, to look at all aspects of it and say, okay, if they decide to do this, maybe the city needs to look at, say, let's put a load fee per truck that can go into the street fund or whatever for, street repairs down the road. So then when that happens, we have some funding to, fund that activity.
The representative, I think they had mentioned the potential of individuals stopping in at Cenex, fueling locally. He didn't confirm it.
Right.
But there was that potential. Lodging.
Well, I just look at, because I work with trucking all day long, so I know, this is one truckload a day, so that driver isn't going to sit around long. They're capable of hauling 200 gallons, 300 gallons of fuel. Would they fuel up here?
Yeah.
But again, we're talking, and I'm being probably, exaggerating on my figure, but if they spent $5,000 a year in the city, I'd be surprised. Well, that isn't going to gain us the funding to repair streets. So, and again, I'm not trying to say, no, don't do it, but let's just look at it wisely and say, as the citizens of Washburn, taxpayers, are we getting left holding bag when it's
Right. We had some questions for Mark Dreyer, from the last meeting, and he was going to get back to us. And and he said, as far as he said it probably wouldn't be before 6 or 7 in the morning, which I think is pretty early, and it probably wouldn't go past 8 at night. Where the trucks will be coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was only going to be like, what was it, 8 or 10 trucks a week. That really makes me wonder, if they're going to have like one a day. It just seems to me that they would be doing more than one a day.
I've got some inside information, which I'm not going to divulge, but I don't think it's going to happen the way it sounds.
Yeah.
But just something to think about if it does decide to come back up. But, rather than say, oh, that sounds great, let's do it. There's going to be costs down the road.
Yeah.
And I just plug in some numbers, say they average a load a day, about 365 loads a year.
Yeah.
If we charge $150 per truckload in a load fee to come in and out of town to help pay for that. Over the course of 5 years, that's $273,000 in revenue.
Right.
You're not going to put a street into that.
No.
So, that's what I'm looking at is, but there needs to be something, I guess, look at.
Right, and quite honestly, one individual shouldn't have to pay for the whole street, because they're not the only ones using it. But I see where you're going.
They're the ones that are, those loaded heavy trucks, typically we don't get those heavy trucks in and out.
Right, yeah.
And they haven't provided any answers to the questions we had for them.
Well, that was basically the answer to that, and then some about load restriction. I got so with load restrictions, they would be hauling lighter, so it'd probably be another 3 or 4 per week if they were hauling lighter. you know, so. And another thing that made me question was, you know, it probably wouldn't be for 6 or 7 in the morning or later than 8 at night, but if you're only doing one a day, well,
Well,
big stretch.
But kind of it depends on when the tanks are full, and they gotta get rid of that.
I
oil.
understand that,
So,
yeah.
you know, I just know that it can be anytime, you know, Saturdays,
Yeah.
Sundays also.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I should call this guy and try and get him narrowed down a little bit more on some stuff, and then find out what his timeline is and stuff like that, because,
Yeah, it seemed like he'd probably come back and approach the commission if we asked him, I'm
yeah.
sure.
I think that wouldn't be a bad idea, and then, you know, and I'll even bring up to him, hey, maybe, you know, I'll mention that maybe we need to, you know, to set up a little kitty or whatever to help cover, so.
You know, and I know that corn oil is not hazardous, but in the case of a leak or a spill, which is entirely possible, that does create other issues. You know,
Yeah.
both the river, you know, in town, they'll look at that too.
Washburn actually has an ordinance where you can't offload or load or offload fuel oil, you know, gas or fuel oil in town, which kind of makes it interesting at Cenex, but rail.
Well, but they're not transloading, that's.
Yeah, that's true.
Transloading.
So, I mean, we actually have an ordinance for that, but that's for fuel, so. Well, what I will do then is I will, I'll get ahold of this guy tomorrow probably, and see what he has to say.
Yeah, it's good feedback.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate the other perceptions.
We need to look at everything, so. Okay, so, anybody else have any thoughts on that, or?
You'll hold down, be quiet.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else from the audience members? Okay, we will go to Eric.
Evening, guys.
Hey,
So I sent out the update report, if you guys all got that. And the first thing I wanted to go over was the kind of the bad news, and that's the pre-disaster mitigation grant that we applied for through the Department of Emergency Services. It's a FEMA grant. We didn't end up getting that, and I kind of explained it in an email. Basically, and I'll go over it quickly. The grant application was looked at favorably by Department of Emergency Services. They send it up to FEMA region, and the FEMA region sends it up to national, and it gets looked at by a third party. And they look at it for eligibility, technical feasibility, and cost effectiveness. And it passed all that, but we weren't selected just based off of the amount of funding that FEMA had to spend this construction season. Now, when I talked to Justin Messner at Department of Emergency Services, he said that FEMA's budget, that they just passed the federal government's budget, and FEMA's going to have up to $250 million to spend this next year for this grant funding. So the silver lining that we didn't get it this year is that this summer, when the grant application process opens up again, we can go ahead and resubmit for that grant again. You know, if you look at it from this year was $95 million, now we got $250 million. Chances are, you know, it's a better chance that we could get it, although it's not guaranteed. So that's the feedback there, and that's going to kind of lead me into I'll go into State Water Commission updates. Now we've had that matching grant funding secured for the intake project, and that's about $2.3 million total in matching grants that they'll pay up to for the intake project. And the initial feedback that we have is that if we want to wait on the project this year and do it next year for the 2019 construction season, that we'd still have that money available from the State Water Commission. I know that
That's what we're hoping for.
that's what we're hoping for. I know that, Larry, you got a meeting with them on the 12th. It's their regular commission meeting.
Yep.
And we're gonna, continue to work with them. And I think it's a reasonable request to hold that funding for the city, given that we have the circumstances with this FEMA grant that we could get that funding.
Right.
So what I didn't cover is that if we wanted to reapply for the grant, we would have to wait until postpone the project till next year, because FEMA would have to review our plans before they would give us the funding. So we can't get the grant to use it to reimburse the project. We have to get the grant awarded, then they gotta review it, and then we can start construction in that order. So bad news there, but like I say, hopefully hope for next year. But
Well, and I guess, I'm gonna stop there real quick. I think it pays to try and wait.
mhm.
I mean, if we can get another $1 million,
Yeah.
rather than, stick the city, because let's face it, people are a little, unhappy with all the taxes they're having right now,
Mhm.
so we don't want to raise water rates or anything like that. They don't have to, so.
And that would be our recommendation, would be to hold off on because I was going to ask to advertise the project this commission meeting, but I'm not going to do that. Because our recommendation would be to hold off on the project this year and look at a December time frame for asking to advertise, and then advertise through January, and maybe have a bid opening in the January commission meeting or a special meeting, and then award the project in February of 2019, and then go forward to building the project next year. Hopefully everything works out with FEMA on that grant.
So anything, currently right now, it's just a hard stop on engineer, I mean, what are we?
We're right now, the last task order is for final design.
Right.
So
And that would go, that you would finish.
That's what we're working on right now, and I probably maybe should have started there. Currently, we're at 95% plans and specifications, and what I would like to do is hold another design review meeting with those plans. Our 95% set is with our QA/QC group, so they're going through it, and with the fine-tooth comb, and we're going to get all the plans ironed out so we can get them to 100%. So we're going to get to that point, and basically what we would do is we would shelve the project until, and I would continue to work with Justin at Department of Emergency Services and reapply for that grant this summer. And then we would kick up again, like I said, that November, December time frame. We're always going to be talking to you guys about the project, but that November, December time frame, we kind of look into advertising if everything's going well and everyone's on the same page to continue moving forward.
And really having the plans done is like a feather in the cap for getting more funding, right?
The Water Commission has always looked at this project favorably, as far as I'm concerned, and they've already set the monies aside. And as far as FEMA is concerned, I don't know that it matters one way or the other. But like I say, they do got they got 2.5 times more money available for this next year for the applications that they're going to be receiving in the summer. So what is a really big feather in the hat, if I'll go off of that, is that we have state funding, and that was one of the reasons why it was looked at so favorably, that we have all this matching funding from the State Water Commission. And when they see that on the national level, they're like, well, yeah, we want to help them push this project forward, versus somebody who has nothing, and then they're asking for the whole kit and pay for their project. So, so that's like I say, it was looked at favorably by DES, and I'm optimistic that we can reapply and get that next year. So.
Okay.
Question? Again? The FEMA grant, when does that, when you apply for that this year, when do you find out about that?
Normally, you find out January, February timeframe. This year, with the lack of a budget being passed timely, a lot of things got backed up. In fact, like World Development funding for USDA got backed way up, and I'm still waiting to hear about that for some clients. So on a normal year, we hear about it like that January, February, late January, early February timeframe. But this year we found out last week. It was Thursday, I think I found out.
So, but I guess I'm asking, when you apply this or reapply this summer,
Yeah.
when would you find out about that funding if we get it?
We would find out that January, February timeframe.
Okay, well, then that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
And I know what you're
To-
thinking.
To start, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
let's go up for bids and award it, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden we do this, and all of a sudden it's like, oop, rug gets pulled out from underneath us again, now we're left holding the bag.
And I was thinking the exact same thing, but, you know, this is all tentative, but yeah.
And you know, we can always advertise. You don't have to. There's no saying you got to advertise the project for just the minimum. You could start advertising it in that December time and go till February. And even if you close bids off, you can still wait on the bid opening until we know about the grant funding.
Right, you know, and I'm still looking at it, maybe a little different, you know, because now we're looking at, you know,
But I
paying
think,
the engineer to do all this, and it's money being spent, that, let's wait till we got the funding, is my thought, in the bag. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had asked those questions this last time, but I think it was a risk we went through and said,
Right,
we'll commit to the engineering planning of it.
right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna.
we can do better next time.
Especially as your guys' engineer, we're gonna be tracking this funding one way or the other. And like I say, we owe you at least through final design. I gotta get you 100% plans that you guys can take and look, and you'd be comfortable they would be available to be sent right to the Department of Health. We're at that point already, you know, so we could go forward with the project. So we would have to come back to you guys to go into the bidding process.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And,
So-
and I do agree with Colin, is, if we don't have, we should know how we're gonna pay for it, at least tentatively pay for it before, we get too far into it, so, yeah.
Yep.
So,
But that's where we're at. We're at 95%. The permitting process is still moving along. I just spoke with have been in touch with the State Water Commission and the DOT. So they've had some good feedback. So hopefully we'll be set up for those now. We might not need the permits right now, but at least we have everything set up and ready to go.
Okay.
So I think that covers the intake project for the most part. As far as do you guys have any questions on that? Anything else? The water treatment plant ceiling paint, the update I got from Jasper is Dave Lindell is currently reviewing those contract documents, the ceiling paint issue that you guys have been having since that project. I know it's
it's been a long time.
that's a pain in the butt, so. And that's all I guess I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
I don't think so, not at this time.
So we'll be in touch. I will reach out to set up that 95% design review meeting.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Just one other question. Is there a chip seal? Are we caught up? Is there any sections that need to be chip sealed? Are we doing anything with the streets this summer?
We don't have anything planned.
Yeah, nothing planned.
Okay, just for these guys.
I mean, we'll probably have some patching, which we normally do, and we'll, reevaluate that.
Yeah.
We'll have the guys look it over first, and so.
Gotcha. And then the city is going to look at some of the crack fills in town, right? That's not anything to do with.
City does that, yeah.
Okay. Do you know the time frame of that? Is that now, or do they do that when it's getting a little warmer? I think.
But it's a little different with the county because, they don't have streets and ice doesn't hang on and stuff like that, because, the roads, because the county does it like in the winter.
Sure.
In town it's a little different because you got ice everywhere and, all this other crap, and, you really should sweep the streets first.
Yeah.
So it usually doesn't happen until like May or June. Plus we got to get the material in, and that's not really available until a certain time. So
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Eric.
Portfolios?
The buildings for buildings and grounds, currently we have a steering committee. And please chime in, Rhonda and Tana. There's a steering committee for the rehab of the old courthouse on Main Street,
Okay.
1905. Tana Larson, Mark Lelm, Rhonda Johnson, Cody Meadows, myself. We're soliciting support to fund a proper assessment of that building so that we can roll it forward and have a rehab plan to preserve the historical value of that building for Washburn and McLean County. So that steering committee is looking at grants, support, all of the above, and we're meeting every week at 3 o'clock in the county museum on Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, 3 p.m., that steering committee is meeting up just to discuss how that looks. A focused approach to doing the right thing for that building.
Is this like that more expensive thing that outfit was talking about, or is this something different?
For the assessment, yeah, that would be the goal for the initial goal of that steering committee.
Okay,
So,
what was that company again? That was.
it was JLG, or it is JLG Engineering. They did a concept design.
Did we ever get a report on that or anything, or what they come up with on the concept design? I can't remember.
We have, but we haven't rolled that to the commission.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
curious what they came up
Right.
with.
Yeah, they do have a concept design. Nate Hacker had presented that to a small group here last month, and we just haven't rolled that to the commission.
Or, you know what to me, whatever. Okay. Just curious what they came up with.
Right. Our goal is kind of to roll that concept up into a package and present it to the commission. So we're trying to strategize on how that looks and how that feels. But our goal would be to present it to commission proper.
Yeah.
So it's a good initiative. It's getting individuals talking about making that building usable for the town, for the county. Any other feedback? And that's it.
All right, okay.
Okay. Sorry, I was writing. I wasn't ignoring you, I was writing. I pretty much said, had everything in the agenda that I wanted to go through, so, Linda, anything for us?
No, I'm wondering if you'd like the list of those committee members in the minutes, and if so, then please can I get those from you? I didn't get the names.
Oh, yep.
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 There's a lot of blank lines in here with names.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of
Yeah.
filling in to do.
Yes, you do. You
Just
do.
like, no, do you have anything?
I do have one thing, Larry. I haven't received a water bill this month.
You'll get it tomorrow or the next day.
Thank you, Larry.
It got sent out late because we had issues, so.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure you didn't forget me because I live out in the country.
Okay, Bill. We have a motion to pay bills. I will move with pay bills.
I have a second.
Any other discussion? Any discussion on the bills? Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming.